abusia musumfo ofani ayede ba asemo Mzbel na awo ne ba ono ankasa ne ba na watete akwala no ama akwala na nyine dum fie bi emfie du ana akwala na ko interview ye bisa no ensem ana akwala no eyi ano na akwala no nsem yi na no ame ne nsem na no yi no na abeye deja ofa enura minya botre ko various platforms a post to akwala we interview no na me ko read comment ahodo agu video na se na comment ne dodo na firi yanom ho na eba a Christopher kro ya yanom kro ya na Mzbel ade na wo akwala we sa na ade na wo program akwala no wrongly sa ja akwala na mani nyini ana Mzbel this child is too young for this na Mzbel akwala we sa na ignorance na God should forgive you na winim de woka na wuwa na behu be to be se bebele ana me bisa Mzbel na wo ne ba. One, in the first place, Mzbel, oye Davy, oye Bibini, I will free the Ga tribe. In fact, Ghana as a country grand chain. Because I never to make a naturalization in Ghana, me American, and I'm UK. But my tribe here, irrespective of how I may decide to send or my tribe, naturally, tribe and BPM. Mzbel, a crying Ga tribe, Muna Mzbel free. Mzbel be pay the Ga tribe. Or then any two form din shade no say it makes sense in what way the tribe Ghana me be free mu say bi onye ne ya ne yete eye ko na emi so ya wo me na mabepiem na ko no anase the tribe no ewo omamamre ne omamane kwan omofa so di obo ne ani die ma odoma nkoma no aye omo tradition omamamre omamane kwan omofa so di obo ne ani die ma the supreme being of which we all believe. But we don't know, we don't see. So the God tribe has their culture, their practices. And when I Mzbel atiase, and what one was saying, you must tell me ma was our point with so. Some you say Mzbel kwa China near, and call the Chinese language and the better tell the man. And what the practices in China, say Buddhism, say Judaism, and all the better tell the man. Say Mzbel kwa India near, and can be our the Krishna. Ana Hinduism ana kasa wo India ena betete ne ba no se ka ebia Mzbel kwaye Arabian Saudi Arabia for ne Arab for ne bia enko no so the Arabic language and Arabic kasa no any the culture the tradition the practices in the Arabian area hono ena no so betete ne ba no se ka Mzbel kwaye European Italian German UK Western America and cover the honum cancer ni honum a practice a tradition about the ban. But this is the case of Mzbel about be African or be Ghanaian or free the Ga tribe with him. And for that matter, or the practices and the culture and the language and the tradition of the Ga tribe and what they tell the ban. Agree to for more how they saying. And the ba say mo krom ha. Ayamuma me pacho Mzbel aba mu fie se mo fa mo ba ma no kwatete ne mamo wa ba mu fie se mo fa mo mambra no kwatete mo mamo at at what age na mo ma mo master Sunday school mo na mo se mo ba ma mo ma ko Sunday school near the Bible my Bible storybook and my storybook my Bible story blah 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 atete mo ma Yesu ma me de say Mary o papa de say Joseph ye wo no he Bethlehem ye bo na so in Jerusalem blah 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 ana mo se mo ba me atete mo ma Mzbel metwe tuo ne se kan sie mo so o mba mu fie me ka se munyai se bi wo so ne platform and also ne page and over the platform so ade onu gidi na o kan o ti ase afan on ti ase gai mo yin fo na edede okrom asen mo Christopher hin fo na edede okrom atwetwe ni pastor te mo da ben no what is asante fo so original Kumasi KJT edede say mo meja asante amame na asante amane etu wa ma wo bekọ bonsam de what bi da ben no akoto se nkranfo gina nkrantetu amafo so say nkranfo amabegu ase aibefo ni asante fo amabegu nkran ase mo nyina mo meje nkran amame na amane etu mo meja to bekọ bonsam de what bi da ben no akoto say aibefo hia obabi na efefo ye dede kasa say mo meje mawu so bolisa mo meje ever abosoma kese entum nyasa mo bekọ bonsam de what bi da enso mo Christopher kroi ene ye nya so krom ha TV so Then this radio so to be station ejom tokrodo Mwatia ya swa ene ukofro ka akọ baabi akodi udwuma o pese wo tena ka ne mu a o fa adwene plan towards what you are going to do where you are going no mo wura ka mu jinchia Yesu ba onuadofo sa kira wadwene ma dwene na ewo dia do tobe we amoye okro ma se kuna yen ka se yen fa se kan ntiesi mo obi anka mwase Yen ne braso ne yesu ya betete yesu ya ma awo yesu ya bibi kwan so ya mamani amanye kwan so na de ba bonten be kan ye de a na mo adwa na be pe ya chiawe mo abodam de na hamu agbama lawo now Mzbel bana kasa me ba be boa mu a Kristofo ni bi no ma mo ayira no ye be koso ane aboa kakra sa mo ay mo baba fi ne baba mo amaka na mo ayira no be koso wo nwura mu ha mampate kwa che mo awe mfa ye ho Mzbel bana kasa ba kumienu miensa bi wa ha. Me pese me breaking it down. Na me wie video we no me wo message ma mo a mo adwini mo abie the enlightened, the conscious people me wo message bi ma mo. Okun na say adwuma no na Mzbel a start a wa bie no. Eno na wasa mo so mo to aso. Me wie no ma bi mo mama tiase. Yen ko tia kwala no sem kan ye ba kumienu miensa bi na me breaking it down. Ema die na adwini ye ne tantane ntiase. Now, you're fine about community. Yes, first one.
What do you want to be? So, where do you fall?
I've wanted to be on a podcast, and I'm going to say every piece of knowledge I know about myself, and about this, and about the tech I'm waiting for.
Who created you?
My mother. She gave birth to me.
No, Adupa, you didn't get my question very well. Who created you?
I believe through science, human beings were born, not created. And if human beings were created in the first place, I never got to see God as my father or God as my mother. The only person who cared for me is my mother. She buys my clothes, she buys my food, she pays my fees, she does everything. God doesn't do anything for me. And if I'm supposed to stand here and say he has done something for me, I'm supposed to ask. And I say he gave money to my mother. He never came and said my mother should collect the money that he's giving.
So you don't want to be a Christian?
No.
What do you want to be? So
my main breaking way down. You be and say, why the ball who created you? And I said, I'm in a war. Or no one who say will be born. No, I can say papa win a ball and me papa ni. Or send them I'm in a war. Now we babies I said them I'm a woman no way. Them I'm a woman no way. But the bra, then if you and I said, do we have to be pure assassin so no? Now said you, Opie free or pray or assassin so free no more fabrima. Mami ya na nani tua no mami na ema ne nofo mami na ema ne duane mami na eto atade hye no mami na ete ne tubi mami na ete ne hwena no hwendro mami na edware no eno sa na adwene na pekese ampa mami na de me ba na se me mami ni sa fa ne se nya mami kura na wo no mpo a nipa kura ko betete no no onyini a onte se wo be prove ama na hu se nya ne mami ni no ko ba fa nipa kura tete ne se ne mami ni and for that matter wo ba fa ne se ni nyame yese when nyam we die wa men menyawo anka memme nti wo ye menyame ti maami no hu ne se wo ye ni nyame now ye wo no no hu but nani fi ye no nanu ya na maami kuro ya na fusa huru ye kakraka tie mi o mpanifo se wagi mi kura no dokuna eto ahye na aben nanu yi no wo sa no se ne maami na fu aye kakraka no so okay me de minim kwan a me fa so be pie de me hu ya se ma ba be pie but maami fo mani to fo na me hwa de ne maame na fu ya kese kakra saa do hu ya se ne maame akọwo na nipa bi firi ne maame ye mu aba ohwe nipa no wotire nipa no wonsa nipa no wonan ti se ne so ne se so saa a oye oba and also oh okay so from this same woman and am buy dem mum the evidence to show say kwan ya me fa so buy no saa kwan na so na obi so fa so aba that means eye maame we ne de me ba asase ne so enti akwala ne kase ne maame ne wo na akwala ne nka bone Mwakasa mo Bible ne say de ani ehu na aso ate na ano pai muka akwala na ehu se papa bi nwene ne baabi akwala na ehu se papa bi gina baabi de na tie bi nwene no ono no nani fiye no a obepie ye no no doubt say de na mbepie ha say but ade e ma ne hu se okay maami we na wo men ne say na anu ya maami na sa wo foforo It's a colano, one who said, a quiet way, I'm a fast to buy. That means the free mammy women buy. And me free mammy women buy, and so mammy not taking care of me, or mamma no for, or Jeremy, says me up to now, it's mammy winning me yummy. Unti can't tell me saying I may be for you or baby on a year menta. One tia semu yasia. Me doctor that the same the can who so no could I won't be me and Hammy who. Your question.
Where do you fall? Where do you belong?
The traditional belongings.
So, do you pour libation?
Yep, I do.
At your age, you pour libation?
Yes, I've done that before.
To who?
My ancestors.
Your ancestors. That is what you believe in?
Yes.
Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Now,
That
second question. You beside and say, so where do you fall? Are you a Christian? Do you pray? Who do you pray to? And I say, I'm not a Christian. I practice my tradition, or I am a traditionalist. I don't pray. I pour libation. And the business say, who do you pray, or who do you pour libation to? So I pour libation to my ancestors. Why do you know? The moment a Christian for religious people better libation, any ancestors pay, almost say, I have some a demonic. More margin of form, we baby brains, mammy, and mamma. One, only Christian, or practice, or a traditionalist, or practicing a tradition. Nitinti is what you say. Of free tribe, the tribe is the Gan tribe, and never me free man, never me woman. And the Gan tribe has their practices, their culture, their tradition, and that is what he practices. How come the practices and the tradition of the Gans? The Gans practices and their tradition is their own way of paying tribute, paying respect to the creator of the universe. The tradition and the practices of the Gan tribe, is their way of respecting, worshipping, attributing however you want to put it, to the creator. That is the Gan tribe, their tradition. It's why Ganini. That is what he practices. Now, he pours libation. That is how the form of praying. He pours libation. Yes. He believes, say, people have lived before. I had the ancestors. I had the Gan ancestors. Ne nana, nanu ya wu ya ne mame papa. Ne nana no mo matena seko. He believed, say, omo di ka tena asase we so. And then they omo we fla asase we so e different realm. Realm no omo won onim ho onko hoda. But believe it wo gidie bi say okasa kire omo say be ya omo di agitaipa ene amode papeta na chi e wo asase na afi no no na baso no. Me kasa kire banyansani wa ha. Ne nana no matena happen. Omatena so many years and omo ko baby foforo no akwala ne nim. Enti ne maamia program ne say yanso ye be wutina bi but yenya nwuye die. Yemfa oboni ani die ne yensra hoden firi wo mo adi ka tena ha na omo wu ko no yensra hoden firi omo ho. Na yeduma die be ye di bia no ye yire ye ho ne yemfa gidie nya se enyitum se omo taye chi. That is what he practices. Wa wo hwe mi we your ancestor. In the next 10, 20, 30 years coming, you will be an ancestor. Who ye into your ancestor? But who echo free world we are ubaba be ancestor. Eti abraba wo borne e japade a wo ye nem wo ko na ochine bi wo ma be enjoy e be benefit a. One way to pay respect to you ya papa no se wo bo bra papa na ye nya so mfaso no eni se omo be pour libation egu asase nim na omo de mpaipa asere to mi afiri wo se ta omachi. Mo musu nya ahoden ni nimdi a wunya ya wode ye ni papa na wuja ko mo enjoy no pasa ahoden ni bita omachi. And only the tradition and only the pouring libation to our ancestors. Ebibi man, ebra brofo be fa ye ko nkwasum na omo tete ye no. Nyi na me bi na firi suru bi be koji ye o. E na nanom na tena say no, say ya so de ankan ye ho ande ye ho afira brofo nsemu a. Ye man so be ba ye nko a. Te na nanom de omo moja ene omo afifiri ene koji fa ho de ti ye ho fira brofo nsemu. Nyi na me enye bonsam, enye Yesu Kristo. Dabi ye na nanom ya santo anom from various tribes ekokoye and omode jifa hudie no edema e meboa in a way to pay respect to yen ananom. So omo de omo moja ekoje yen man na yen ya fa ahodie no. Ya poor libation. Omo ye yesi omo hefa, esi omo asase nim. Enti me sa nsu a nsu ye den, nsu ye nkwa. Na me de nsu no gu asase na yesi me nana no wo mu no na makasa. Me gidi se makasa kire me nana no. Skom anya busumsum. The only difference is wo Kristo ni no. Wo so wo som busumana se wo so kasa kire ancestors bi. Abraham otiase. David otiase. Jacob otiase. Jesus Christ otiase. Omo nyina hunko e. Eti upo omo din de kasa. E de bom pae. Think say wo positive energy from these ancestors to back you meboa. Sa pepe na no so mebo me so me na na din. Me papa din, some papa uchi na mebo ni din. Me mami wa mebo ni din. Sa. Wo the only difference is wo no akofa obi de. Sabio Jesus wonya Ghana ni. Abraham nya Ghana ni. David nya Ghana ni. Joseph nya Ghana ni. Jacob nya Ghana ni. And so say wo de omo de na bebo bra because obi abe indoctrinate you. Ye no wuni asem. Ye nso ye de na nanu mu de ye bebo ye na nanu mu din ene nso ye de betena. De nti na wo buafu na wo adwa na wo chocho wo se hunu o comment section ho. Mo de na hamu. Yanko second question no so.
He came to die for our sins. Do you believe that?
I don't actually think we died for any sins or he died for sins. Because if he is the Almighty and he didn't want us to sin, he should have just made sin not exist. He could have made the word sin not exist. So why did you create sin in the first place if you don't want us to sin? It means you are setting up a trap for human beings to sin. It means you intentionally created hell as a hellhole for people to go in. And that doesn't make sense if you keep on thinking about it a million times. So I don't actually think he's almighty in a way, because if you're almighty, you could have not stopped sin. And now we are sinning, you are trying to forgive us for sinning. So if you are unforgiving, why don't you forgive us for sins? And when we're in hell, we don't have any way to talk to you. So how do you forgive us in the first place if we are there?
That is why whilst you're
Mzbel, big up. Wala na dwene mu da ho. Tie. Ye na nanom te ha sei. Na omunim se aye bone tie nyame bi. Tie nkohia ba bi nkokwacha nko ye dede hunu na nanom na eni o masetenam. In fact, untimi nya bone tie nyame ne nyame bone tie nyame kina. Ade a wani hu na utimi ofele na utimi ye bone tie an. Untimi unhu nyame unfele nyame. How do you sin against God? Intie na nanom masetenam no. Na ye nya bone tie nyame. Untimi nya bone tie nyame na akopa nyame che wo ba bi. Inti na sa bone fa firi ne bone fa che ni sre nyame na enim. Ebisa ne senti uji Jesus Christ di uji say Yesu Kristo be wu beje ni pa bone. No say it doesn't make sense. Wo nyame na wo tumi no. Se wo mpe bone a de nti na wo se wo bone a na se de nti na wo ma bone ba. Na afi na wa ma bone na ba wi no na ma ye bi no. Afi na membe pa ho ache na fa che me. Does it make sense? Wo tumi we ne Alpha and Omega. Utimi de wanu mu asem clear bibi afiri wo ma bibi ba. Nti de nti na ade a wo mpe wo create me ne meyire ne me mati fie ha yi. Na me mpe wo minim se wo a dangerous animal. Wo ya aboa bi obetima kaw cobra. Ne pa ne bi cobra na makofa cobra betu fie ha. Na makacha meyire ne me man se me manom efie ha se cobra wa ha ne monye sure no wankamo. Ni nyansam no ade tira me de aboa na eba fie wo as minim so obetima kaw. E wo se me yi ni fie fie ho no na fie ho da ho na so bi da. Wo de na ba fie na beka kire se na mistakenly na kwala bi enim sa aboa ne da na kwala ne na kwisi na aboa ne kana e ya kwala na ya na se me na mai. Simple. Wo nyame no wo mpa bone a de de bone ba ni chiase afiri we adan na fe na membe ye bone no na membe pache ne fa che me. It doesn't make sense. But this one say ya chekere pato mutirim ni e pese mo life na mo bo mo brabo na mo bo no mo waste abrabo no okan bi so nti no. And 60% of them, the African mentality, they say, why a bonnet and to the manufacture of a man, my brother, me bon, me ya bonnet and a meda. And never me ya bonetiano, me a mini pediana, me ya bonitia. Whereby say, a near man, ni pediano, empena, buoni pediano, not me de she ni pediano, me ya bonitia, me acasa mini pediano, and Sabonina me ya mini pediano, me ya susan so, me ya mwabini mwa. Boni ba ko ne se wodi niema enyema nipadua ne hye nipadua no. Ensaboni, eduboni, kwanboni so ubenya so akatua nipadua na nkasa be ma wo so akatua eno ye boni ba ko. Boni etoso mienu eye se wo ye boni atua wankasa wo nipa wo mu nipa. Me nua no madamfo no me yonko no me yere no me mpana no na ade a enya me de ana ye de me enya me de ye wo no eye boni ana me ye no ade a enye enti se me wo pa de chewa na me wo be se boni fa che free no wa abra ma realize se ma anya ni yi a enye nya ni bia ho ne wo se me ko bunko to jo ko pa che eye se me ba wo na me be sere wo boni fa che me nua na anu ade a me de ye wo de ma anya ni yi me sere fa che me sa na na ye na no mo de te hasi na ye ko ye nuanom ne ye nuanom nchen ye ko dwa atoa ne akopa nipa ne chew na so dwa ba ne ye te na kwasi broni abeyi sa mentality ni se wo nua no ye ne boni a dabi kwasere nyakopon boni fa che nyame na de boni che nyame na ye de judge kese o de boni che wa wo nua na fa nche wo kra fa nyame de ache wo nipa isu hu no ne nkasa na wo ma won confirm so de ache wo akasa ko nyina ba bi kasa na wakasa wa nyina ka che se wo wasere boni fa che na wakasa wa nyina ta ka che so ye de ache wo na wo ko empty memory na ade na wabodam so nim nti akwala ne se ono won gina ba bi an on kase Yesu bia be wu na Yesu bia be wu kra ba gi nipa boni kura kokora obewu ko efiese ni obewu ko e how many years ni e de ntia obewu ko e se no kwese obewu aba ba yi boni afiri ho no ma obewu ko e ni fiese ni boni no emu de he na ayira nya afi na boni no e graduate eti nipa na ode boni ni ba na bon sam na mo na mo se boni ni firi no no owotumi si nyankopon owotumi si Yesu na because se waba abedi bon sam so nkunim abedi owotumi abema boni abepepa boni dia ekodia e wose nka wudie sucha e wose nka kokonsa tucha e wose nka mpanatwe sucha e wose nka dwaman tucha e wose nka nsekuro tucha e wose nka krono tucha e wose nka wudie tucha akwa hodo tucha e koma hodo tucha but sa boni ahodo we nyina wo so abewu abetwam ni adade ko no afa na increase enei adwaman no enei graduate ko hookup enei chacha to graduate ko betting ene awudie graduate akwa graduate enti de wo hin na obetwa obewu mabre Mzbel well done my dear obia kwala na dwenim in fact mania jitu now I can't wait to raise my kids. Oh my goodness. Now this is my message to all the enlightened people. Mo amona mo sese mo ye awakened. Mo amona mo sese mo ye conscious no. Adwuma eda ye nyina ye nim ne say it is our mandate and our duty to start raising our kids as Mzbel has done. So we are enlightened, we are awakened. Now we jai wo ma, e jai wo yere ana we jai wo ma saa so nkwala no nenam saa ne program no mo ma wa. Enya na wo kra no wa anya awakened kwa nkamfa so wo so. Because awakening na wo wa here no. The ebema ada this why awakening no e how be program wo ma. Ti me serve each and everybody. Why awakened. What come back to your reality and what come back to know yourself. It's a lack of self-knowledge, my people perish. Africans, we lack our self-knowledge. We don't know ourselves. You have no idea. We don't know ourselves. A bra kwesi broni ba ha oba ya setene mu a o say o change o yi adwene free our real self so no. One start free and penny for your papa ne ma me no musu. Ye papa ne ma me no de na otwe omo de omo kọ abrofo aman ni ma otwe omo de omo kọ amana ne de omo kọ ye mpruntu dwuma bet na enkwala no program omo no de omo hihia na omo tete omo fa sorry school ahodo no de brin wo hye nkwala no ene ne enifo no man nyini na wo ka hwe omo nti no o baba video ya sa baba church kwasasem no de obo hu omo comment video ya se omo no omo yen se ada je wo omo kwase broni pese o program a particular agenda for next year or targeting kola for the next 10 50 years. So it took them over 100 years, 200 years to change the African from their real identity to how the whites want us to see ourselves. Now it's time majority of us are awakening and then knowing our real self. It is our mandate to enlighten or to program our kids to know our real self, because lack of self-knowledge, you will perish. So the nation uncle, big up to Mzbel and to all the awakening people or awakened people and the conscious people It is your duty, it is your mandate to start raising your kids. Forget about mommy for no money, no, we are there on my munamabi. Forget about papa for no money, no, Mugun sorry them, we are there on my munamabi. Let us focus on Nkolana, Yan, ye woman, Yentity woman. No Musum Lambert, Titi Musuma. Yamaya who next 120 years, and 100 years, 100 years, 200 years. We might not be alive, but the African, and I said the freedom, the mental slavery will gradually vanish from the continent. Thank you so much. Kindly share this video. Invite people to come and watch this video. Share and like the video. I will come again with part 2. Thank you so much. Piao.